Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Hope you're having a great Wednesday, June the 15th. Yeah, it is a hot one out there. That is the story of the day. Really, story across the country. Been paying attention. I'm paying a little bit of attention to that. I know it is hot. Just heading outside for a little bit, walking around in that. It reminded me of I had a chance to play golf down in Florida. It was a really nice course, but it was in the like middle of July or maybe August, and the heat index was over 100 degrees, but it was a great course, and it was free too. So I was like, yeah, I'll play. And I got out there, and it was like you would be in a sauna or in an oven, kind of like out there today. But I went around all 18, and I played my usual game, which is not very good, but it reminded me of today. All right, thanks for being with us wherever you are. We got all kinds of things to talk about today. This is Maize and Blue Review. We're talk a lot about football and basketball. We're live weekdays at 1:00 talking about the latest in Michigan sports. Today, we're all big college football fans, and today we are going to talk some college football. And as a college football preview, my first of the year, I had to restart my computer, and with like 2 minutes to go, it wasn't running. And I thought, well, it's time to use the backup, which I have right here next to me. It was going to affect a couple things with music and a couple screens that I was going to share and everything else, but I was prepared to do it. And then with 2 minutes to go, yeah, it looked like my main PC was going to go, and it is going. So that's the good news for me. Hope you're having a good day. We do have a call-in number that you can use. And that call-in number is up on the screen, 810-666-1574. You can check that out and give us a call if you want to talk a little college football. It's, as you might expect, got a little bit of a Michigan flavor to it. As before we get going, I just want to remind everyone that Maize and Blue Review, we're a part of Rivals.com. And if you're looking for a gift, like for Father's Day coming up, I've got all kinds of things coming up. I've got Father's Day. I've got my birthday and anniversaries both in this month. And, growing up, I would just have my birthday. And, then I got married on my birthday. And then, I got Father's Day too. So, big party in the Fithian household. But you're looking for a gift for the Michigan man or woman in your life, slide them over Maize and Blue Review. Go to MichiganRivals.com. If you're somebody that watches this show, listens to the podcast, do all the things like subscribe and rate, that really helps us out. And then check us out on all the social media and everything else. You can always this is the Maize and Blue Review difference for Michigan today. As the feedback comes in, we are able to put it up on the screen, and we will say hello to you. I see William on Clubhouse. I see that Alex has just sent us over a message about Emoni Bates. Emoni Bates trending towards Michigan. Look, Emoni Bates is really something. Emoni Bates is a real wild one here for as far as college basketball. Here was a kid that I remember. I don't know if it was 7th or 8th grade. Larry Relage from the Associated Press said there's a kid here locally in Ipsy that they're comparing to LeBron James at the same age, whatever you are in 7th or 8th grade. So, one to watch. And I said, well, is my first question, is Michigan going to be involved in there? I said, John Beilein, that doesn't seem like a John Beilein type situation. Izzo, when he was available, I don't know if it was just right at midnight when he was first able to place a call. And, then he did. I don't have to give you all the background on Emoni Bates. It looked like he was going to Louisville after he went to Memphis last year and was using the transfer portal. And then it looked like he decided, because there was a little flirtation or whatever with Michigan. He was showing up on list, I guess, from his side. And then there was a picture, which was never dated. It could have been from, when he was a freshman in high school with Juwan Howard. Everybody was like, Lou, maybe he's going to Michigan. He might go to Michigan. The one thing, Michigan has scholarships open And is it a little bit late in the transfer game? Yeah. I mean, Michigan's got that one Duke transfer that, possibly that they're in the mix for. But Bates is just out there. But it doesn't seem like Michigan is rolling out the maize and blue carpet for Emoni Bates. Bates may want to go to Michigan, but I think Juwan Howard's more like, look, if you want to come to Michigan, we're not, guaranteeing you a Bentley's or $1 million. You're going to have to come in and you're going to have to fit into this team system and everything else. And I don't know if he's communicating that through his dad or anything else, but I don't know. Is there a chance that Bates ends up toward to Michigan? Yeah, I would disagree with the statement that he's trending towards Michigan. I think Michigan is there, and he continues to have Michigan on his list. But it seems more than likely that he's going to end up elsewhere. Now, would I like Emoni Bates to come to Michigan? Yes. I like a couple different things. Like I just like Michigan basketball, but I also like excitement. And Emoni Bates, there'll be so many Michigan State fans will be like, this is going to be a program record. And it's just going to create, complete controversy and chaos in the college basketball world in the state of Michigan, between Michigan and Michigan State. And I don't mind a little bit of that. I don't mind, everybody going crazy and freaking out, about that. And, he could, if he had his head on straight, be an asset for the Wolverines, and that's really the bottom line. If you thought he was just coming in and wasn't going to be able to do anything, so there's the talent there. So when you have that, but I don't think that he is trending. It's fun. It's a big name, Alex, and I'm certainly not one to just like no, nothing to see here. Although I don't think there's much to see there, but as it sits right now, if I have to make a prediction today from everything that I have been able to gather, it doesn't seem like Bates is going to end up with Michigan. Okay, let's get into what are we talking about today? See, there's you want to talk about anything? Go ahead. It's open for you. You want to talk about Emoni Bates? You want to talk about any other part of recruiting? Who's coming in? Who's going? Anything else going on? Go ahead, fire me off a message, and I'll get to you, and I'll read it on the air like I just did there with Alex. All right, today we have a college football preview for you. How about that? It is in some ways a long ways away, but it's this hot thinking about September in college football. But when you're a college football fan, it is like, hey, anytime's a good time to preview college football. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Dees does not want Emoni Bates. He's going to take a hard pass. That's one thing, Dees, and also Alex, when it comes to Emoni Bates. He is controversial. Like, mostly Michigan fans, like, other colleges, fans, rabid fans, they love 5 stars, they love supers. They love like number 1 draft picks, all these things. And Emoni Bates, 7th, 8th, 9th, all the way through, it was like, this guy's the greatest ever. And then, he went to Memphis, and whatever happened there, it's like, did he hurt his back, or maybe his dad got involved? And then Memphis seemed to start playing a lot better, and whatever, they started rooting for him. There's a lot of things like, you say baggage, and I don't know about all that baggage. Is his dad who created a high school curriculum just for Emoni Bates to play basketball or something? I mean, so there's a lot going on. I mean, he's when you're minted the next LeBron James, it's hard for that not to go to everyone's head. But all of that being said, now that he has gone through what he went through at Memphis, there are a lot of Michigan fans, just like these. If you said, hey, go ahead, you can have Emoni Bates with you. And a lot of them are like, nope, no thanks. We'll go ahead and just give that scholarship to a guy that was buried on the Duke bench that might be able to shoot some threes, or anybody else for that matter. But, if Bates ended up at Michigan, like I said, I would like it. I would like it because I don't think Juwan Howard's going to play that game. Like if his dad's like, well, we're going to guarantee him a starting spot. Juwan's like, I'm not guaranteeing him a starting spot. if his dad's like, well, how about, 10 shots? I mean, there's no guarantees from Juwan Howard in terms of playing time, in terms of name, image, and likeness, in terms like, and I'm for a little get into the gray areas with name, image, and likeness. I think it's, so close now where, saying that you're paid to play, you don't say that and you don't say it publicly, but behind the scenes, are you saying, hey, you want to come here? Here's the opportunity. And you get waving around the money. And you just have to say one thing publicly and you're kind of approaching it differently behind the scenes. That's the name of the game right now. And we'll see what it ends up coming down. That's an easy thing to say. We'll see. But I would say no right now to Bates. Antoine giving a name out, saying he's making an official visit, I think he means, on Twitter. I'm not familiar with the player that you're talking about, so you'd have to tell me a little bit about him. I don't know if that's basketball. I don't know if that's football. But, hey, let's see. Michigan's got some scholarships, so, maybe this guy's a better fit than the transfer from Duke or Emoni Bates or any of it. Well, let's get into some college football and have a preview as we got Blake Corum there on the screen, but let's look at top 5 running backs in college football heading into this year. And when I look at the screen, Fox came up with their college football season best running backs, and they put 5 pictures up on the screen, and then they put other. And I don't know if they ordered them from left to right or they just put the 5 guys up there, whatever. I'll tell you who I think's the best. And I also have an other on the screen. Travion Henderson from Ohio State is upper left corner. Great back. He really is. I mean, I could say this, but hey, great back. So I've seen my share of Travion Henderson, and yeah, I would say that he is one of the best running backs in the country. Jahmyr Gibbs, he wears number 13. He is from Alabama. Alabama could have their 2-3 deep on here talking about being the best running back. The Tide bring in annually the top running backs in the country, so this is kind of the next up type situation. Is Jahmyr Gibbs one of the top 5? I'm not going to dispute that with the recruiting rankings, the kind of offensive line that Alabama has, and the just the line of success that they have with running backs. I believe that. Deuce Vaughn from Kansas State, number 22. I will buy Deuce Vaughn. I've watched him play a few times. He's a little guy, a little like, if you remember Darren Sproles, who went to Kansas State, then where did Sproles end up? He was in when it was San Diego, the Chargers for a long time. Did he play with the Saints maybe for a minute? I think so. And then with the Eagles. Talking about Darren Sproles, Deuce Spurlock looks a hell of a lot like Darren Sproles. Same size, same school, same type of game. And yeah, I think Vaughn, that's a nice pick. Seeing him. Blake Corum is in the top 5. I like this for a number of reasons. One, Corum was overshadowed by Hassan Haskins last year, and I think it got to be right along the Nebraska game, the night game. Even though Corum had a nice game, and he got the touchdown, and he was like eating corn afterwards as a touchdown celebrations. Hassan Haskins had a hurdle. And around the time, then Corum got hurt. He played the Michigan State game. I remember that. But it was around, I think maybe it was the Michigan State game he got hurt because Haskins took over and had 168 yards against Indiana. Haskins had 31 carries and 156 yards at Penn State. In Maryland, they didn't need Blake Corum. At Ohio State, Haskins had 169 yards and 5 touchdowns, although Corum was back for that game. Remember in the second half, had that big carry in the second half. I think the first series where he took off, and I think he ran 40-plus yards. He looked pretty good. And like I said, I like Corum on this list because I think he's underrated by Michigan fans. He was overlooked when you think about last year, and it's like, oh, Hassan Haskins, the Haskins hurdle, Haskins touchdown, scored the most single season touchdowns in Michigan history. And then Corum got hurt, and he dropped that pass against Michigan State, and one other one that like Michigan fans like, hey, but Corum deserves to be on this list. I like that he is a top 5 back, top 2 back in the Big Ten, top 5 back in the country. That's a nice list to land on there, and Michigan fans should feel pretty good about having Blake Corum. What it says is that you get a star. And if you're considered one of the top 5 players at your position in the country, that's a hell of a statement for the preseason and in the offseason. And Corum getting that kind of shine is deserved. Now, the last but not least, and when it comes to me, I would put him number 1 as you're asking me, who do I think the best running back pound for pound is in the country? It is Bijan Robinson. Now, he has changed his pronunciation over the years here. I used to think it was Bijan, but I was reading a story today where he said, and whatever, I think it's Persian, he was saying it himself. No, Bijan. So close to Dijon the mustard, but Bijan Robinson plays for Texas, and he is a heck of a back. I'll buy that. I think he's the best out of these 5. And just talking about college football, who's the best pro and all that, that could be different. Although I would still say Bijan is the best college football running back, and I would put him as number 1 in the pros. Now, they have a space for other, and I put in other, and I went to Wisconsin. Their freshman running back, now a sophomore, number 0, Braylon Allen. Wisconsin, he showed enough last year. And then you know what Wisconsin's identity is and what they're going to try to do. I think, Braylon Allen, I would put him as a top 6 running back in the country. Okay, let's look at the feedback. And Antoine mentioned Toviano coming in. I didn't know necessarily who he was. Antoine saying he's a corner. So we're talking about football here. I was talking about basketball. So I was in basketball mode. I'm like, I don't know. Well, what kind of 3-point shooter is he? 5-star. Now you got my attention, Antoine. 5-star corner. So, okay. And a recruit. So, I'm good with that. Antoine talking about Hassan Haskins was good for the tough yards, no doubt. But Blake, you're probably more scared of because if he gets in the open, it's either a long gain or a touchdown. Yeah. Well, Haskins, they dogged Haskins about his 40 times, but then he took off a couple times and he looked pretty good. But, I think if it is home run ability, I like Corum. And how can you not like him? Oh, yeah, I mentioned it. Maybe those drops you didn't like. Okay, let's continue on a little college football. And I put a tweet up on the screen, and it is from Joel Klatt. Works for Fox, college football analyst. And he tweeted out, every day I get a bit more excited about this college football season. Here's a look at my top 5 headed into 2022. He's got Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, 1, 2, 3, Texas A&M and Notre Dame, 4, 5. Okay, I haven't done I don't even say a deep dive. I haven't even done a dive on Texas A&M. I know they beat Alabama last year, and Notre Dame there at number 5, a little bit surprising to me. Klatt puts a also under consideration list, which I'll extrapolate. If he's got his top 5 and then it's not alphabetical, I'll say that he's got 6, 7, 8, and 9. He's really got his top 9 headed into 2022. He's got Utah number 6, Michigan number 7, Michigan State number 8, and Clemson number 9. Now, a lot of interesting things going on here when you think about Klatt. And if you've looked, a lot of different preseason polls, and you can say, well, preseason polls are garbage. They don't mean anything. They mean like you want to be in the top 15, so you don't have that far to go. Win all your games, you're fine. Lose one. You don't want to start out outside of the top 25 and then lose a game early. It's a long ways to go. If you remember in 97, Michigan was preseason 14. They were able to get there. But if you look at a consensus of, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 different type publications or services or people that are involved in college football that have put out way too earlys, or now it's summer top 25s or whatever it is, or in this case, a top 9, even though Joel Klatt's calling it a top 5. Michigan and Michigan State are routinely popping up in the top 10. I've seen a lot where Michigan's 10 and Michigan State's 11, but as Klatt has here, Michigan 7, Michigan State 8, and Clemson 9. I think my takeaway here is that Michigan is going to be a preseason top 10 team, and Michigan is going to beat Colorado State. They're going to beat Hawaii. They're going to beat UConn. And they're going to beat Maryland. So they're going to be 4-0. Alabama and Georgia play week 1 with a would they fall out of the top 5 with a loss? They'll fall back somewhere there. Michigan heading into their game October the 1st at Iowa, it is likely that they're going to be a top 5 team playing likely a night game in Iowa City. So those are my takeaways. Does it matter where Michigan's ranked if it's just outside the top 10 or in the top 10 or closer to the top 5? Or no. But is being in the top 10, nice? Yeah. And we've talked about it all year long. We've looked at what Michigan has coming back. We look at the personnel that is ready to emerge, and we look at this super nice, manageable schedule with no games where they're not going to have to break a sweat until October. Things are looking great for Michigan. Again, my takeaway, college football preview. There's Joel Klatt with what he had to say about the top 9. Now, I mentioned that top 5 clash that's going to be happening week 1. Marcus Freeman is the new head coach at Notre Dame. He coached the bowl game, right? He, with Brian Kelly bolting for LSU. Great story there for Freeman. Freeman went to Ohio State as a player. He was with BK Brian Kelly when he was at Cincinnati prior to Notre Dame. And then this week, Marcus Freeman, the head coach at Notre Dame, was talking about his football stops, the 2 most significant football stops in his career before coming to Notre Dame, at Ohio State, where he was a DB for Jim Tressel, and then also at Cincinnati, where he earned his reputation, according to CBS, which I'm reading this from, as one of the nation's best defensive coordinators. But Freeman, here's the money quote. Quote, "You don't go to class at places like that," Freeman said rhetorically. Okay, take some online classes, show up for your appointments at Notre Dame. You're forced every day to go to class. All right, that's the quote. Now, what this says immediately is that Ohio State doesn't care about academics. It's trash. Cincinnati, of course, doesn't care anything about academics. And Notre Dame, if you want to be a student and a great football player, you're going to South Bend. That is what we call, shots fired. Now, it might be true. And you remember that it wasn't so long ago that you had a quarterback, Justin Fields, was like, I don't have the exact quote in front of me. He's like, I don't know what an inside of a classroom at Ohio State. I know at the Horseshoe. I go to the Horseshoe. He took all online classes. And, so if in online, you could say, hey, look at the pandemic. It's a new world. Everything's online. You can make a case for all of that. You can make a case for, hey, your uncle went to Cincinnati and he's making more money and he's the smartest man, and your grandpa went to Notre Dame, anything. But what it does is it is not a compliment to Ohio State where he played. And, it's taking a shot at their academics. And it might be true. And here's the great part is that if Notre Dame wasn't playing Ohio State, and you'd say, okay, are you talking trash about Ohio State where you went, which is a little bit odd, and Cincinnati where you stopped, and you're just, fluffing up Notre Dame, which is fine. But Notre Dame plays at Ohio State in week 1 at 7:30. So this is awesome. Are Ohio State players going to take this personally? Yes. Is the coaching staff going to take it personally? Yes, they are. And then you're going to get, throughout this season, you'll get people to say, if college football, this means nothing. This is all fan stuff. And I don't agree with that. It's just like, Michigan State rival stuff. As soon as you think, like you would think that if these guys need a little extra to be motivated, then, why are they being motivated at all? Well, I'm no superior 1% like greatest athlete of all time, but I read enough and listen to enough of the greatest athletes of all time who will use almost anything. Tom Brady, was picked in the 6th round. He made a note of all of the teams and all of the quarterbacks that were picked in front of him, and he still uses it to this day. Why does Tom frickin' Brady need to do that? I feel slighted. It helps him. Little, sharpen up that focus a little bit more. Draymond Green of Golden State was taken in the 2nd round. Draymond Green can recite every player that was taken in the 1st round the year he was drafted. And he wants to kick their ass every time he plays them because all those teams passed on him. So anytime you run into somebody that gives you the old, and every year it happens, if you think that affects college football, give you a little LOL or whatever else, it affects it. He'll say, yeah, well, you're not paying attention to what the greatest of all time say. So, but a little fuel for the fire coming up for when you think about college football. Continuing on, talking a little college football, let's look at the week 0 and also week 1 games. I have it on the screen in front of me. So if you're listening on the podcast, I'll help you out. Week 0 is taking place Saturday, August the 27th. And you say, okay, you get some games. Can you find 1 or 2 that might be somewhat of interest? Games that if you saw during the year, you probably wouldn't watch, but you're so football starved that you probably will. It doesn't take long till you get to a 12:30 game on August the 27th, and Northwestern is at Nebraska. And if you're a Michigan fan, Nebraska is on the schedule, November the 12th. So taking a look at the Cornhuskers and the Wildcats, okay, I'll be there. The rest of these games, one thing, UConn, Michigan plays them in the preseason. When you're lining up, like, I understand that teams line them up for money and for home and just getting the checks and just getting automatic wins. I'm not paying any attention to UConn. Nothing against Ward Manuel or Jim Harbaugh or anybody else, but UConn. But I don't care about Hawaii or UConn or Colorado State. Illinois. It's another Big Ten game here. So we got a Big Ten matchup between Northwestern and Nebraska, but then Illinois, who's on Michigan's schedule. Michigan, their second from last game, their last home game of the year, November the 19th. They'll be taking on the Fighting Illini. Yeah, check them out. Why not? So that's the action on week 0. So there's 2 games that could be of interest. There's Hawaii. Am I going to stay up? What time does this one start? 10:30? Vandy in Hawaii? No thanks. Okay, Labor Day weekend. I love it. This, I always say continuous days in the sports calendar. Give me the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the college basketball tournament opening up. There's nothing like it. I love it. Labor Day weekend for college football fans, rivals. I'll still take the college basketball, but college football, and this is a recent phenomenon, they do get it done Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they even bring you a Monday game. Let's look at those games. Is there going to be anything interesting on the Thursday? Ball State, Tennessee? No. All right. West Virginia, Pittsburgh on a Thursday. It's not that bad of a game. Kenny Pickett, no longer the quarterback for Pitt. So we'll see how that one ends up. I could see watching that one. Is there any other game? Oh, Central out of the MAC heading to Oklahoma State. Possibly take a little bit of that one in. Are there any other games on that Thursday? Kind of a light. Oh, wait a second. Penn State at Purdue. Penn State only a 3.5-point favorite. Ross-Ade Stadium. This is on the Thursday of Labor Day weekend, 8:00. I'm in. I'm in for Penn State at Purdue. I like it. So that's the Thursday games. We've got a nice Thursday game. Now I'm not watching New Mexico and Minnesota or Arizona State. You play to win the game. Let's go to Friday. Friday, Eastern Michigan hosting Eastern Kentucky, Rynearson Stadium, Ypsilanti, Michigan. That might be a game. I've got that one circled. Maybe I will go to and attend. Maybe I'll be headed out. I'm not paying $31 for a ticket to go to Rynearson, but Eastern Michigan, let's go. If Eastern's playing at home on a day where, there's no other games that I'm interested in, okay, I could do it. The traditional Friday game for Michigan State. I like how Michigan State plays Friday every Labor Day, and it seems like a lot of the times they play Western Michigan. I would DVR that game if I head up to over to Ypsilanti, but I will be taking in Michigan State Western. That's a pretty good Friday. Not bad. Not bad. Any other Friday night games? No, not Temple and Duke. Maybe it was basketball. I didn't know Texas Tech had a football team. Ooh, another Big Ten matchup. Illinois, again, Indiana. Michigan plays both of these teams. Watch it. You get a chance. I'll probably only watch 2 Illinois games all year. Probably in the first 2 weeks. Here's one against Indiana and the night game on a Friday. Not too bad. And then we get to Saturday. There we go. Michigan and Colorado State, the home opener. Let's do it. Love it. The noon game. So I'm all set till 3:30. Would I think about DVRing some kind of perceived top 25 matchup? I'm not watching Iowa, San Diego State, or Maryland, or Buffalo. Nope. I'm gonna have to page down pretty quick to get to these. Oh, here we go. 3:30 games. Cincy and Arkansas. All right. Oregon, Georgia. That's attractive. And you only need 1 or 2 games in that 3:30 window. And we've got 2 of them. The U hosting Bethune-Cookman. No. If that was Dion's school, maybe a chance to tune in for a second to check it out. Those are the 3:30. But we do have the game, and it's taken me a while to get there, that 8:00 game that Marcus Freeman is going to take on his alma mater, and he talked trash about him. And is there going to be a little smack talk? Is there going to be a little payback on the Buckeyes' mind? Ooh, how about a little warm-up before Notre Dame, Ohio State, Utah heading to the swamp to take on the Gators? How about the Utes? Favored. I never thought I would see that. But, watch Utah in the Rose Bowl. They're the hell of a football team. They do have it going. And then here it is, that 8:00 game mentioned. It will be taking place at the Horseshoe in Columbus. You've got Notre Dame. There's Alabama, Utah State now. We're getting close. I know it's an 8:00 game. There it is. Oh, I said 7:30. Ohio State. Tickets for as low, well, right now. You can get a ticket for $266 to watch Notre Dame and Ohio State. That's some college football for you. 14.5 points. Not a bad first week when you think about it. All right, some of the feedback coming in. D saying UConn has a small kick returner who can really burn. That's about it for the weapons. I'm thinking about taking the season under on Pitt win total. It's 8.5, and they play Tennessee in their non-conference. Well, interesting you have to say that you mentioned Pitt, because let me add a couple of things in here, D's. One is that I've got the odds to win the Heisman Trophy. You look up here. We've already talked about Bijan Robinson, the running back from Texas. JT Daniels, who was considering Michigan. See if I can get this right. Went to USC and then transferred to Georgia. And now he's with West Virginia. I didn't even know that was possible, but I think that's true. Quinn Ewers, who already scooped up $1 million in NIL money from Ohio State, he transferred to Texas. We mentioned Travion Henderson, Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, TVD, Tyler Van Dyke down there at Miami, Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was at Oklahoma and started in front of Spencer Rattler last year. He is now with Lincoln Riley and USC and has the third best odds to win the Heisman Trophy. No thanks. Bryce Young, predictable. CJ Stroud, the odds-on favorite, the Buckeye quarterback. Well, when you put up as many touchdowns and yards, you can understand why Stroud would be up there. I've got another graph that I thought was interesting for you, and let me put it up on the screen. This is from Danny Kanell and Dustin Dvorak. They do a college football show on satellite, and they put a list of 12 quarterbacks that are on the rise. And number one, Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, took over for Joe Milton last year. And according to Kanell, he would be the number one quarterback on the rise. Hooker there for the Vols. Dylan Gabriel, already mentioned a couple different guys. I wonder if Dylan Gabriel thought at this time last year that he would be a quarterback on the rise, because Spencer Rattler was the quarterback at Oklahoma, and Caleb Williams ended up unseating him. And now you've got Lincoln Riley gone and Dylan Gabriel, a quarterback on the rise. The aforementioned Spencer Rattler has landed with South Carolina, so he'll be under center for the Gamecocks. Mentioned TVD for the Canes. It's always exciting when, it's the U in TVD that got a quarterback. Bo Nix, who started out at Auburn, had a great first game, I think against Oregon, and then really nondescript after that. He has transferred, and now he is playing for Oregon. Bo Nix. Quinn Ewers, the NIL bonus baby, could start for Texas. A guy who it took 100 years to be able to say his name for Clemson, DJ Uiagalelei, is on the rise here, according to Danny Kanell, the Clemson quarterback. Oklahoma State Central will see them in that, is it the week 0 or I think week 0, Spencer Sanders. Keydon Slovis. It was D's thinking about taking the under for Pittsburgh. They don't have Kenny Pickett anymore. It's Slovis as their quarterback. How about Nebraska? No Tyler Martinez. They've got the transfer from Texas, a dual threat quarterback in Casey Thompson. Look at all these transfers right up and down the list. The transfer all over the place. Jordan Travis from Florida State rounding out a list along with Will Levis from Kentucky. Oh, yeah. Levis was a Penn State quarterback before he transferred to Kentucky. I like him. I thought he was going to go to the draft. So Antoine saying he thinks Ohio State must have done something to Freeman, that he's been dropping venom on him. Yeah, I agree with you. You don't say that. Well, number one, Freeman should know better. I don't know if he should know better than to say something about Ohio State when you're traveling to take them on in week 1. Are you kidding me? I mean, sometimes you get a guy, and who knows, maybe he was sitting out on his back deck, just chilling out, putting in 80-hour work week and then just sitting back, relaxing on his deck, and they say, hey, take an interview. And he's like, all right. And then, they start talking about academics and maybe how tough it was at Cincy. And then he can't help himself. But it makes for a little bit of excitement. Okay. I did want to tell everybody, if you listened to Brandon Justice yesterday, the senior editor from Maize Blue Review, you heard him talking about Erik Bakich possibly leaving for Clemson, and that did materialize. Justice breaking that news last night. And this is something that's a little bit odd if you're a Michigan fan, and it didn't strike me till today, or maybe it was late last night. Like, for every sport that Michigan has, and listening to Justice yesterday saying, hey, it's not that much of a lateral move. It is a step up. Going to Clemson in the ACC for what they put into baseball and knowing just how much the teams in the South and how in they are to college baseball, it leaves the Big Ten at a disadvantage. I was thinking, I don't think there's another sport for Michigan where you could say, "Hey, I'm leaving," and without it being a lateral move. It's certainly not in football, and I know the SEC is great and everything, but and not in basketball. And we know about Tobacco Road and everything there, but those are mostly lateral moves. Maybe if Juwan Howard or if it was before John Beeline and he was leaving for the Duke. You can always have a couple examples, but for the most part, I don't think there's a sport. I don't know, soccer maybe. I'm not familiar with Big Ten or specifically Michigan soccer, and maybe I know they like soccer in North Carolina, so maybe soccer, would be one. But this is one where the weather hurts you. Now, it's blazing hot today in Michigan, but if they moved the baseball calendar back, and none of the teams in the South want to do this because it gets really hot, it's already going to be pretty hot. If they could move the baseball season, you wouldn't want to run it till late August, but could you have it in mid-August? Move it back a month, maybe 40 days? Just think about, so instead of playing on April 1st, you're talking about May, and the weather, it would be so much better for teams north of the Mason-Dixon line. I don't know if they've ever entertained it. I don't know if what would be under consideration or anything, but it would make it so much better for the teams in the north. Teams in the south, are going to complain about the heat, and the teams in the north are going to complain about the cold. But that's it. I know this. Like, we're all hardy folks from Michigan, and we'll go and watch a football game when it's 10 below and everything else. But baseball, it's a warm weather sport. How many times? And you're thinking about sitting out watching a baseball game in early April at Michigan, where it's 40 degrees, 45 degrees and snow flurries, and they don't like playing in it, and nobody likes watching it. So they're up against it. So Bakich is out. Fetter's name was the pitching coach for the Tigers. That doesn't sound realistic to me. Like, if Fetter was going anywhere to be a head coach, he would be going to be a manager in MLB. And still the situation, even though the Tigers stink, the rotation has been decimated by injuries. That's the point. He's still got tons of young arms to work with, and there with AJ Hinch, I believe that he's in an excellent situation, and I don't think that he would leave for the Maize and Blue. How about the guy that I had on a week or so ago, Ryan Kelly, down at Wayne State? Now, is that too big of a jump, Wayne State to Michigan? If you don't know Kelly, I could see how you might think that, but also, Kelly's a Michigan man. What he's done there at Wayne State, and the timing is right. He had his best season, with Wayne State down there in Detroit. Michigan man, local guy, baseball through and through, great connections in the state of Michigan. How about RK for the next manager of the Maize and Blue? That's my pick if they don't go Fetter. But hey, I will say, I don't try to be biased. I am biased towards RK. I like him. And I do think it would be a nice hire for Michigan. I got to be careful because I thought Brady Hoke was, I liked Brady Hoke too. And that ended up not working out. Okay, tomorrow we will bring the coach on, Jim Scarcelli. He's going to look at the Michigan schedule, and he's going to rank it from 12 to 1, 12 being the easiest, 1 being the hardest. Scar will do that tomorrow. Thanks for watching. We're here weekdays at 1 o'clock. And until tomorrow, everybody have a great day. Goodbye.